Hello, fellow tourists, and welcome back to your seasonal anime awards, where today we are going to be diving deep into the winter season. Even though worst anime is no longer with us, that doesn't mean anything's changed. The same rules still apply to this Dollar Tree award show. For the next 30 minutes, we'll be putting a pause on our spring watch list as we take a fun look back on the season past. We have 11 categories, nearly 50 nominees, and a ton of your votes to get through. Shows like Frieren, The Apothecary Diaries, and Shangri-La may have been continuing their runs this season, but they already had their chance to shine in the Fall 2023 awards video. The only categories that they'll be nominated for are Best Opening and Best Ending songs. So set up your favorite lawn chair, take a fresh breath of that spring air, and join me as I talk about some of our favorite winter anime. Best Isekai. You know, there's always that one category per season that makes you think, damn, we really had it good a couple months ago, didn't we? Frieren may have set the bar a bit too high for our poor fantasy contestants this season. Combine that with the lack of isekai in the fall, and it's a pretty dry run for us Truck-kun enjoyers. But just because the bar is set a bit too high doesn't mean every show was a dud this season. I mean, just look at the isekai side of things. We had classic hits like... oh... I mean, this one looks like it could be... Alright, yeah, it was pretty rough for us isekai fans out there. While there were a handful of shows that were promising, I'd say even fewer of those shows were able to live up to the potential of their premises. I mean, just look at Fluffy Paradise. All that had to do was be a show about a little girl petting big fluffy monsters. That's all it needed. You can just add this to the exponentially growing list of shows that didn't have to be an isekai. And don't get me started on Sasuke and Peeps. Listen, I don't know what this show was trying to be, but they ended up throwing nearly everything at the wall to see what would stick, and they ended up creating this hodgepodge of a ton of different tropes with the most mid animation and characters to boot. I just wanted to see an old guy having a midlife crisis in another world with his talking bird. Is that too much to ask? This was the wrong show to watch before going on vacation. Honestly, I don't have too much to say about this one. It's actually pretty alright. There's nothing that brings the show down, but also there's nothing that really blows my mind about it. The first episode was a pretty good hook, and I like the idea of a doctor being transported from our world to a medieval one, so yeah, not that bad. When it comes down to it, there was really only one big isekai that was released this season that the community never seemed to miss an episode of, and that was... oh god, not again, I can't do another healing isekai!
No, Josh, don't panic. You have to give this one a chance, I swear.
If you say so.
Hey, you're slowing down again. Have you turned into a caterpillar? Don't whine about something this easy.
Ooh!
Ma'am, please, you have to crush me.
See, Josh, what did I tell you?
Oh yeah, I think we all know who's winning Best Isekai this time around. Best Isekai. The Weakest Tamer began a journey to pick up trash.
What the?
Hear me out. Okay, so everyone seemed to be talking about the wrong way to use healing magic, but for whatever reason, I couldn't really get into it. Decent couple of episodes, but I was really forcing myself to get to episode 9. Once I caught up, I didn't really have an urge to keep watching. But when it comes to The Weakest Tamer, yeah, I don't have much for this one either. It's just a really wholesome show.
村に不幸が訪れる。あの娘を殺すのだ。星なしは神が見捨てた子だ。どうしてそれがうちにいる？
あんたなんか生まれてこなければよかった。
Hey yo, Josh, what the actual fuck?
Hey, wait, no, really, hear me out on this one. Born into a world where your success is based off of a skill and a star rating is assigned once you turn 5, Ivy is born into a normal family in a small town in the middle of nowhere. All is well and dandy until she turns the promised age, where it's found that she has a 0-star taming skill. Having both an Eldad and an Elpriest in the village, a witch hunt begins as Ivy runs for her life from her friends, family, and community, all alone in this vast world. Or is she? You see, this anime does an interesting thing with the isekai genre, as this isn't Ivy's first go-around in life. But instead of being reborn with all her memories, there's a small whisper that's guiding Ivy through life, giving her hints every now and then using modern lingo. Even though she was born to such an Eldad, this role makes it up to her by giving her such an incredible father figures to look up to in every single arc she goes through. It's like these guys know that she must be protected at all costs, and it's just so wholesome to see Ivy find happiness with found family she makes on her journey. Also, Sora is absolutely adorable.
Now, Josh, stop it.
Not you! As a tamer, Ivy makes several animal friends along the way, adding yet another adorable slime to the anime community's roster. This is just a really wholesome experience, and while it definitely shows how cruel and stupid people can be, it also shows how genuinely kind they can be as well. Best Fantasy. Whoa. Since when did they ever split these sections? Yeah, well, with the worst boy, worst girl, worst anime, best boy, best girl, best OST, best antagonist, best protagonist, and most underrated getting cut, I think I can afford to split these pretty packed genres apart. Now, like I said in the best Isekai section, Frieren set the bar high in fall, and it doesn't help the fact that we're still getting weekly episodes of the GOAT during the winter season. But that doesn't mean fantasy was as much of a dud as Isekai was. We had some pretty decent shows struggling to fight for some air against this juggernaut. Take, for instance, 7th Time Loop Villainous. I know. Villainous anime, and I certainly do have a history. But what can I say? For some reason, I got invested in this one. After dying 6 times and living 6 very different lives, Riche goes to the source of all of her troubles by stopping the war that kills her before it even happens. That's right, guys. She decided to roll Seduce on the Dark Prince. And it kinda worked. Kingdom, Mashal, and Banished from the Heroes Party all made their return this season as well. There's also newbies like The Unwanted Undead Adventurer, Delicious in Dungeon, The Witch and the Beast, and the obvious light novel adaptation. But if I'm being honest, the title for this award really only boiled down to 2 contestants for me personally. Best Fantasy. The Undead Unwanted Adventurer.
Josh!
I know, Delicious in Dungeon is great, but I promise you, Kenny, it will have its time to shine. Maybe it's the recency bias since this is one of the last shows I finished before writing this video, but there was just something about the Undead Unwanted Adventurer that scratched that fantasy itch for me. Having dedicated nearly 20 years of his life to being an adventurer, finds his unlucky streak is going strong as he accidentally stumbles upon a dragon. The next thing he knows, he's dead. This just feels like a classic fantasy to me. Maybe it was just the headspace I was in while I was binging it, but I really enjoyed the journey he went through to evolve his way back to humanity. Delicious in Dungeon is a great ride, don't get me wrong, but also keep in mind that I'm only considering the first 12 episodes of the series since that's what aired in the winter season. But what can I say? I just really enjoyed this classic fantasy adventure. Best Romance and Slice of Life. I love her mom. Commas, people. Commas. Know when to add them, and know when to ditch them. It pains my heart to cut Best Slice of Life from this season's awards, but if we're being real, there were only 2 anime that fit that true slice of life description, and one of those was the McDonald's anime.
Brother, what's that?
Better luck in spring, I guess? But just because Slice of Life may have been lacking does not mean romance took a break this season. We have an abundance of romantic shows to look over this time around, and they certainly did not make my job easy. A Sign of Affection, The Dangers in My Heart, Bottom Tier Tomozaki, Hokkaido Gals, and Cherry Magic are all dear to my heart and each had me squealing over them at one point or another.
Josh, please let me talk about Cherry Magic.
Okay, take it away, Nuss.
So basically in this universe, if you don't lose your virginity by the age of 30 years old, you get secret mind reading powers, which apparently isn't just exclusive to the main character, which is what I thought originally, but no, you get the side couple, which is just as cute, honestly, maybe even a little more entertaining as always in a romantic anime. Anyway, it's super cute, super wholesome, surprisingly non-toxic, NES-approved BL.
BL? What?
Penis! 2 penises!
It looks like after the events of Shibuya, Gojo was reincarnated as a god in a shoujo. Urusei Yatsura makes its return along with The Dangers in My Heart in a second season much sooner than I expected. The champion Smash Bros player himself returns as he continues to learn what it's like to touch grass every once in a while. I'm gonna be honest, I really like this show. There's just something about watching this gamer who had such a toxic look on life, self-determining that because of the way he was born that he was destined to always have the short end of the stick, and never be able to enjoy the life the way others do, find just how completely wrong he was. And the best part is, he doesn't have to give up on his gaming persona to achieve that. Smash Bros is a part of who he is, and the show doesn't try to give him a glow up by forcing him to abandon the controller. It's just so rewarding to see my boy grow a social circle and learn how to become more independent. Along these heavy hitters, we got Walmart's Fruits Basket, but if I'm being real, it ends up getting lost in all this wholesomeness. And how could I have gone on for so long without mentioning Hokkaido gals? This is just pure Hokkaido propaganda, but goddamn am I eating this shit up. Hey, what can I tell you? I'm a sucker for slice of life and I'm a sucker for rom-coms. Sue me. One guy, 3 girls, who's he gonna pick? We already know, it's obvious. Take my money, especially if the show looks this nice. With so much to choose from, you'd think I'd be pulling my hair out trying to decide who's more deserving of this award. But after checking out the finales of each of the nominees, the answer was way too obvious. Best Romance. The Dangers in My Heart, Season 2. Oh, A Sign of Affection, you were so close. But these series truly captured why I love this genre so much. But for all the gushing I did over Best Girl Yuki, I made just as much and much more over the best couple of the season. The Dangers in My Heart does have a leg up here over most of the other nominations, as this is a Season 2, so it's continuing the story of Season 1. So there's way more context going into the main relationship, but I feel like this is one of the best continuations of a romance in a long time. There's no reset point or back to status quo. We start right off the bat from the previous season and we keep plowing forward, watching these characters develop and grow into something truly magical. And the best part is, it's not just Ichikawa that's growing. We're getting to see more of Yamada, her passions, her life outside the main love interest, and what drives her. And then when the two of them are together, oh my god, it's just too pure. Season 1 hadn't convinced me, but this continuation has put The Dangers in My Heart as one of my favorite romances of all time. Best Action. Okay, we already know who's winning this, so let's just get this over with. Best Action. Solo Leveling.
Pledge yourself to the man before you. Erect.
Best Ending Song. This was a nice change of pace compared to last season. There were a ton of different songs with their own unique vibes to them, and they weren't all totally depressing. I mean, just take a look at Kingdom Season 5. Novel Core had no right to go so hard. Rulers made it instantly onto the playlist. Coming in for round 2 is Apothecary Diaries, Undead Unluck, and Frieren. They might have been disqualified for competing in the other categories due to being continuing series, but their new endings deserve to have some recognition. Weakest Tamer, High Card, and 7th Time Loop all went with slower, more emotionally resonating songs, while Hirome gave us some fun visuals for Fluffy Paradise, and Request was a badass way to leave off those solo leveling cliffhangers. But if I could only choose one ending... Best Ending Song. Anytime, Anywhere. Melee. Frieren. Beyond Journey's End. Wait a minute. This looks familiar.
Frieren, sweet! Let's go, baby!
Okay, technically it's the same song, but this is the second half of the full song, so it's kind of new if you've only heard Anytime Anywhere through the ending credits. And hey, we got different visuals too. Okay, so if you don't want to count this, my runner-ups would be Craig's Request or Novel Core's Rulers. 2 amazing songs that fit their shows perfectly. But come on, it's Frieren! You can't blame me, can you? It's been 0 days since I've talked about Frieren. The second half of Frieren's ending starts off with the direct reply to the first half, where part 1 started with,
"And you alright? Can you hear me?
Part 2 responds with,
And I'm alright. Yeah, I hear you."
while Frieren is visiting a grave. We're watching Frieren continue her journey through grief when it comes to Himmel, a man who completely changed her view on life and what it truly means. Where ending 1 starts out more somber, you can feel a different energy with ending 2. That's because Frieren is at a different stage of her grief in her life at the time of this song. She'll never forget about Himmel, but she can now live in the present symbolized by Fern's imagery. This is a beautiful song about accepting grief and learning to live in the present, no matter how great the past might have been. But even though you're allowing yourself to experience new beginnings, there's no reason to let yourself forget the treasures of the past. To remember the smiles of your loved ones, and cherish those you have in all parts of your life, both in the past and especially in the present. Best Opening. Much like Best Endings, Winter gave us some heavy hitters ranging from bangers to emotional devastators for openings. High Card and Classroom of the Elite came out of the gates swinging with some of the catchiest songs of the season. Creepy Nuts came out to dominate the scene once again with an absolute banger when it came to Bling Bang Bang Born. God, I can't wait to hear what they got for Call of the Night Season 2! Another Birthday has one of my favorite sequences out of all of these as we flash between all of Riche's lives, and Mad Kid delivers yet another incredible song for a mid-isekai. Oh, you'll get a good show one day, Mad Kid. You'll get a good show one day. And then of course we have the biggest downgrade of the season. Frieren. Listen, there's nothing wrong with Sunny. As a song by itself, it's great, and the lyrics do capture the theme of Frieren, but man, it is just unfortunate Yudoshika had to follow up after Yosobi. I truly feel for whoever's doing the opening for Oshinoko Season 2. Undead Unluck was also another disappointment. We went from this sweet early 2000s nostalgia to a more standard shonen opening. It wasn't bad, but it also had a hard time standing out from the massive competition. And of course, Apothecary Diaries slayed as always. When it came to picking out my top 3, I had my first and second slots locked, but my third slot kept shifting. What it is today in this video could very well change tomorrow. So let's see what I decided to write about before I change my mind. Number 3. Danger Danger by FZMZ, featuring Icy. Shangri-La Frontier. The Dangers in My Heart and The Weakest Tamer were so close to etching this one out, but Danger Danger is just too cool to pass up on. Of all the continuing shows from fall 2023, Shangri-La has the best second opening, and I have to give credit where credit is due here. Badass song, dope visuals, and some clean animation, Danger Danger goes above and beyond, especially with that sword transition. Number 2. Rouge by Yuka. Metallic Rouge. Why is it that the disappointing shows always get the best openings? Alright, if you like Metallic Rouge, that's totally fine. But I hope the one thing we can all agree on is Yuka's absolute fire opening. Rouge just drips 80s nostalgia, which is perfect as the show tries to capture that era of anime. This is the perfect homage, and when the beat drops, the song gets even better. This is everything that I tend to ask for in an opening. A song that feels like it was made for the show with visuals that tell a story. This blast from the past is absolutely illegal to skip for any reason. So if I gassed up Metallic Rouge's opening so much, that means the number 1 song has to have a high bar to contend with. What exactly can go up against a masterpiece like this? Best Opening Song. Super Adorable Gal by Masayoshi Oshii. Hokkaido gals are super adorable. Yeah, you know what I was saying about what makes a good intro? Good, now throw that all out the window. Sometimes all you need is an absolute banger to make it to the top of the list. Listen, I'm as surprised as you. I binged through all these openings, and this is the one that called out to me the most. I don't have a thesis for you this time around. When it comes to Super Adorable Gal, the visuals hit all the notes for your classic rom-com opening. We got your intro to the girlies, 2 lovers standing next to each other, and of course the absolute must that is falling from the sky. But goddamn, Masayasa Oshii kills it with an infectiously catchy song. And when we get to the last stretch of the song, when everyone's doing their little TikTok dance, this just lives rent-free in my head, especially the dab. Yeah, I just hit you with the dab. How does 2015 feel? I don't know what it is about this. I love it. It's just perfect. The People's Choice Awards. So you may have noticed something up until this point. I haven't mentioned the votes you guys put in for the usual seasonal poll. Well, I'm playing around with the formatting and I wanted to test out how the video would look if I saved the reveals for all of your votes for one section. Well, other than anime of the season. So we're going to speed round through everything that we just covered, including some People's Choice Award exclusives. And what better place to start with then? Best Boy. There was such a large cast of boys to pull from this season. From whiny babies to Giga Chads and everything in between, we got to see a lot of characters grow throughout their individual series, leading to some amazing payoffs.
Honestly, Josh, there's so many to choose from here. I don't know who's gonna come out on top.
Well, there's only one way to find out, isn't there?
You betcha. And the audience choice for the best boy of winter 2024 is... Wow. Ayano Koji? I haven't watched that anime since season 2. That's crazy, man. Why is he the best boy?
I don't know.
I'm a bit confused, to be honest with you.
Best Girl.
Why is there no Fox Girl, bro?
That's next season, buddy.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Then what's the point?
Just read the dumb envelope, Sora.
And the audience choice for Best Girl of Winter 2024 goes to... God damn it, another tie? Rizlet Lagavia and Tenka Izukumo. Who?
I don't know who these people are. I didn't watch this anime. Best Isekai. When it comes to your vote for best Isekai of the season, I have to say, fellow tourist, you had the most base taste of all. I didn't watch any Isekai this season. I know. Quite shocking. I didn't expect this new poll option to be so popular. But man, that's kind of depressing for Isekai fans. The runner-up was unsurprisingly the wrong way to use healing magic. Not a bad show, I would say, but it just wasn't my thing. Best Fantasy. Now here is a prime example of how important your guys' votes are. Due to my absolute trash taste in anime, Delicious in Dungeon was snubbed for Best Fantasy. But thanks to you guys, you can give me a chance to highlight it. Talk about having your cake and eating it too, am I right? So that's why, it's my pleasure to announce that the winner of Best Fantasy for the Audience Choice Awards is... Banished from the Heroes Party, I decided to live a quiet life on the countryside Season 2? What?
Josh, you promised!
I honestly don't know what to say. I guess some bangers really do slip through my fingers. Congrats, Banished from the Heroes Party? You're definitely on my plan to watch list, I guess. Best Romance. Looking at this bracket, I don't think it's a surprise when I tell you that the Dangers in My Heart won your guys' vote for Best Romance. But oh my god, to call this a fight is going to be a lie, cause this was a massacre. I mean, I was kind of expecting this to be more split since it was such a stacked bracket this time around. But Ichikawa and Yamada beat out the other contestants by nearly 50% of the vote. 50. I couldn't be more proud of my babies. Best Action.
What's the point, Josh? We all know who's gonna win, and it's obvious. I personally know what the people want because I am an ambassador of the people.
It's basically a formality at this point.
Alright then, whatever you say. And the best action for spring 2024 is... Ingress! Get out! Wow. Solo leveling. Sung Jin-woo. Gee, who would have thought? Not me. Nah, not me.
Best Ending Song. Coming back around to the songs, I'm continuing the tier list tradition where I take my co-hosts through the entire ending and opening catalog, have them rank the songs from worst to best, and then read out your winners. This way they know exactly who was nominated and can form their own opinions before getting them crushed by the masses. If you want to check out those tier list sessions, there'll be a link in the description below so you can be taken to Patreon where you can watch it for just $1 along with the tourist cut of this video. The tourist cut is also known as the director's cut.
And the best ending song of winter 2023 is... Solo Leveling, Request by Craig. Wow. That's an interesting one because I feel like that one shouldn't have won. Yeah, I don't know. That's such a... Frieren is there. Like, the Kingdom was a surprise. Apothecary, come on, it's there too. And even Undead Unluck, that's...
Best Opening Song.
I know who's number one. It's not Frieren. Frieren, you're done. Frieren, you're done.
I know who you're gonna pick. You're gonna be basic.
Oh, there you go. We all know.
1 hour later.
And the audience best opening of winter 2024 is Solo Leveling. What?
Oh shit!
Hello?
Oh my lord! Wait a minute! I thought it was gonna be MASH.
I thought it was gonna be MASH too.
No way!
You were so confident, Sora. I had to hold it in this entire time.
No way! I thought it was gonna be MASH.
No.
This entire time you've been talking shit. I had to hold it in. Best Protagonist. You know, I would say I had my money on someone like Laios for this bracket, but come on, guys. I know you. The best protagonist of this season was Sung Jin-woo by a long shot, having nearly double the votes of all the other nominees. I can't say I'm surprised. Solo Leveling was a real fan favorite sweep this season. What do you mean it was a tie? Utene tied Sung? The sadist magical girl? It is wild to see Sung and Utene be tied for your votes. They couldn't be more different, with one being your classic fantasy protagonist, while the other plays a unique spin on the magical girl main character. But then again, that could also be why both are so loved. Best Anime of Winter 2024. Wow, that is way more romance than I thought. But for some reason, I don't feel like they made it very far in the poll. It's easy to see where a majority of your guys' votes went to, and looking at this list, I can't blame you. In order to push these polls out so you can vote before I write the script, there are times where I haven't seen the show yet. I try to put in whatever I hear is popular and input some of my personal choices as well. So yeah, that means that some of these shows wouldn't have even been honorable mentions had I watched them before creating the poll. It's hard to pin down the best of all of these. While I certainly enjoyed a lot of them, I can't say with absolute confidence which one defined the season for me. In the end, it boiled down to two shows. Solo Leveling and The Dangers in My Heart are just on another level. So with this 50-50 split, who was it that ended up defining this season for me? Best Anime of Winter 2024. The Dangers in My Heart, Season 2. In the end, the award came down to two shows. Solo Leveling, a show that defined the hype of Winter 2024, and The Dangers in My Heart, a show that defined a genre. I had a blast with Solo Leveling, and it reminded me why I love action so much. But when it comes down to The Dangers in My Heart, I'm reminded of why I love romance so much. When I was a kid, I used to tease my mom about it all the time. All she'd ever do was watch her cringy Hallmark movies, and she'd always be reading her Nicholas Sparks books. I asked her how she was able to find this stuff fun and complain about how boring it was. When she tried to explain it to me, all I did was run off to the living room to catch reruns of Justice League and Power Rangers. You know, stuff that real men watch. She just laughed at this and told me one day I'd find a girl who would force me to watch romance movies with her, and I was gonna love it. Suffice it to say, I have changed. I like romance now, Mom. Where's the girl? Now, don't get me wrong, I still tease her about Hallmark movies every now and then, and cause there's just no saving those. But I found the magic of a good romance. Just like any fantasy epic, the romance genre can transport you into a whole new world filled with touching experiences. And it doesn't have to be this Shakespearean masterpiece either. I'm a sucker for it all. From your trashy harems, your slow burns, ecchi galore, and masterpieces alike, there's nothing I won't give a chance now. As long as it's not American. And The Dangers in My Heart takes this traditional romance story that we've grown so accustomed to when it comes to anime and executes it to perfection. But that's not to say it's unoriginal. Far from it. Taking place in middle school, we get to slowly grow with these characters with each step of their lives. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I've gone on the record saying this. The first batch of episodes of the show are kind of cringe. First couple episodes, kind of like cringe edgy. Basically, it's this guy, he's like, I'm messed up in the head. I love reading true crime and gory stuff. Like, oh god, I'm always constantly thinking of killing people. My classmates are so annoying. Our main boy Ichikawa over here cannot shut up about how much of an edgelord he is, and how much he wants to legitimately kill his classmates. As far as first impressions go, it was pretty unsettling. And then after the first two episodes, they completely lose that gimmick, and it turns into I'm messed up in the head, but I like this girl. But now that we're 2 seasons deep, I finally get it. We had to start him off at his absolute lowest low in order to feel the bliss of seeing him change. Ichikawa isn't your standard blushing mess that we've been getting so much of lately. He's his own person, and while he used to define himself with so much edge and make you want to curl up in a ball and die as you're forced to remember your MCR phase, the journey he goes through to find himself, to find his courage, and to find the meaning of love is just absolutely breathtaking. Going from a cringe wannabe edgelord with legitimate problems to a stand-up guy who's surrounded by a group of friends he would have never imagined when the show had begun. Ichikawa is probably one of the best romance protagonists there is. I just can't help but to want to root for him now, especially when he's going out of his way to support Yamada. This man just keeps growing and refuses to regress. Some of the best parts of the series are when he remembers how cringe he used to be. And when he's together with Yamada, they're just too pure. When it came down to the audience choice for the best anime of the season, I'm not surprised that Solo Leveling won the poll, but I am surprised to see just how close The Dangers in My Heart was to tying things up. Ichikawa and Yamada stay winning, even if they lost by just a single vote. This probably has one of the most satisfying final episodes of a romance there is, and the sheer popularity of the show just proves it. I can't wait to see how these two develop more in the future. I'm so hooked on their relationship, and both he and Yamada still have a long way to go. So after all that, what did we learn today? I mean, it's wholesome, but it's not revolutionary. But I would put it above C. I would put it in a solid B. Never let me cook again.
Vindication!
Because romance truly is the best fantasy. This was a peak season for us romantic weeps with way too many diabetic-inducing shows to count. Even a lot of the fantasy and isekai out there were on the more enjoyable side this time around. While the action department was sadly lacking, Solo Leveling did a great job carrying a very disappointing bracket. When it comes down to my recommendations / semi-top 5 of the season, my number 1 choice has to go to Solo Leveling. This is an incredibly easy show to get into, and I can totally see this being a new gateway anime for baby weebs. My number 2 has to go to The Dangers of My Heart. This is everything I love about romance in anime, and it does a great job at developing both Yamada and Ichikawa as individuals to make all the romantic stuff between them feel so much more rewarding. As far as recommendations go, my number 3 goes to Delicious in Dungeon. Much like the previous 2 spots, this is an easy show to recommend to friends who might be on the fence when it comes to anime. With a great dub, a lively cast of characters, and slobber-worthy food that'll make Gordon Ramsay swoon, Delicious in Dungeon has it all, along with a potential promise for even more action as the season goes on. And now we're jumping from a list of recommendations and going into my personal top 5 territory. Hokkaido Gals steals the number 4 position. This kind of show is absolutely made for me. The harem genre isn't for all, but when it's done right, it is such a fun ride. And my last recommendation is a tough one. I'm really split between 2 here, so I guess I'm bringing back the wild card? Number 5 goes to A Sign of Affection. This is a great shoujo about a man with endless riz doing everything he can to understand the world of a deaf girl. It's sweet, it's wholesome, and it's safe. Another one to watch with the parents. The best part is, we're finally taken out of the high school setting and plopped into the middle of college. It is a refreshing change of pace. I just try not to think about the fact that this setting is closer to my life than the high school rom-coms I grew up with. I am in denial about my 20s. And when it comes to the wild card, I'm gonna have to go with Cherry Magic. Now this is a yaoi, so if that's not your thing, this isn't for you. But if you're a Giga Chad like yours truly, then this is going to be a great watch. This is an adult office romance, something we've been getting a lot more often in the past couple of years. It's very wholesome and the 2 leads are absolutely adorable. And that's not even touching the side romance. Don't let the title fool you, this is not one to skip out on. But hey, there is way more to this season than that. Life Lessons with Tomazaki-kun continues with Season 2, Seventh Time Loop was a surprise villainous title that I wasn't expecting, The Weakest Tamer brings home the wholesomeness, and Undead Unwanted Adventure is a classic fantasy tale. Thank you all so very much for watching. I'm sure you longtime viewers noticed that I've changed the formula up yet again, moving the Audience Choice Awards to their own category. I was just curious to see how the change would look, and I've gotta say, I like it a lot. So I think that's how I'll keep it moving forward. And as I said back in Best Action, we'll be seeing a few new categories to give shows from all genres a better shot at the limelight. Thank you to our lovely patrons, J-Moon, Kamer, Carlos Guzman, Ann Leafdoor, and Matthew Garcia. Without you, these type of videos would not be possible. If you want to join the credit list, all you need is $1 and you can unlock early access to all of our videos. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when the spring isekai go up against each other. It's gonna be a bloodbath, because there's gonna be too much to choose from. I'll see you all in the next one, and remember, keep watching anime.